and Alan Ames that's here with us today. And I'm William Eaton, and we had a lot of people come up and ask about these instruments. Both Alan and I are luthiers. We make stringed instruments, and I'm going to ask Alan to come on up and talk about his design. A very unique instrument. I think there's only two of them on the planet, but Alan has made both of them. The Violira.
Thank you. Well, I was very lucky and blessed to be able to apprentice to a master violin maker named Carl Reiter. And so I'm trained to do this. Don't try this at home, folks. So I've made a few standard violins, but I had the good fortune to marry a wonderful classical guitarist, Marianne. And we started out playing the standard violin guitar repertoire, which is this classical violin and guitar. You know, we wore out that stuff pretty early on. And the main problem was that I got to play stuff. And Marianne is playing. Well, she has a master's degree in classical guitar. She plays concertos and everything. She's saying, you know, this isn't working out. So I said, I tell you what, I'll make an experiment. So I took an old, this is what I call my Frankenstein prototype. I've made a couple of nice ones from scratch, but I took an old viola and just completely chopped it up, put it back together with cutaways and with 6 strings. So it goes from violin string viola and a cello string on the bottom, which is very useful. I can accompany and if there's a shark nearby, I can warn people. And if it gets foggy, I can. So very useful instrument. I've been playing this one for upwards of 25 years. Very, very useful. So that's the Violira.
That's a stand-up routine right there. I don't think I want to follow that. But my daughter was so kind to mention that this is my 50th year, founding Roberto-Venn School back in 1975, and I've been building since 1971, so a few of the extra years in there. And I played for that water bearer piece, this 26-string guitar. It's an Elysian harmonium. That's almost 50 years old. And then this is my newest one. So what we did for the 50th project for Roberto-Venn, and by the way, gosh, the name of this instrument, somebody came up and said, what kind of contraption is that? And I said, well, if you look up in Webster's dictionary under contraption, you see a picture of this. See, that's my first joke I'm developing with this instrument. Alan's got a bunch of them. This is brand new, so I don't have any funny limericks about this one. But so, if you notice the wood on this, there's 2 tones here. This is both rosewood, Nicaraguan rosewood. My teacher, John Roberts, was a pilot for a lumber company down in Nicaragua in the 60s, Robinson Lumber Company. He loved wood. He meets a boat builder. The boat builder says, let's build a boat out of this beautiful wood that's local within a 3-mile radius, rosewood and mahogany. So John is friends with the indigenous tribes of that region, the Mosquito people, and they help him go into the jungle and harvest some of the leftover stumps of wood and canopies that get left behind by the Robinson Lumber Company. They bring it in, they float it down river by tying bamboo with vines to this wood that they've cut by hand. And it comes to Robinson Lumber Company, and John starts collecting all this, And the boat builder decides to go back to Honduras. John doesn't know how to make a boat. What am I going to do with all this wood? His wife, Dottie, was having eye problems. They decided to move back to where John lived in Phoenix, Arizona. So they loaded up the Martha Ann, one of the company boats, take the wood up to New Orleans. It filled up 3 boxcar loads. So if you've ever seen you've seen a boxcar load on a train, it's a huge amount of wood. It arrives in Phoenix, and John opens up John H. Roberts' import hardwood business. He does just okay with it. He meets 2 guitar makers, teach him how to make a guitar, and then he opens up his shop, where I met John in 1971, Juan Roberto Guitar Works, kind of a mystical place, and a few people got to make guitars, including myself back then. And I thought I was going into business. My dad's a banker, my uncles are a banker, bankers, my grandfathers are bankers. If you're in my family, you just become a banker. And so I'm off to Stanford Graduate School of Business to really get knowledgeable about how to run a bank. And I had a dream one night about building a second guitar, 12-string guitar, woke up, drew it out, called up John, and said, I got 3 weeks between my terms here at Stanford, and I want to come down and build this other guitar. 2 days later, in New Enterprise Management class, Stephen Brand, our instructor, said, you're going to write a business plan assignment for a grade for this course. It can be fiction, it can be real. So I'm thinking I'm going to Phoenix, build a guitar. How about a guitar making school? So I wrote a business plan on the guitar making school. It's a little over 50 years ago, and sent it to John and Bob Venn, who had come into partnership with John. And we were off and running. They said, yeah, let's do it. So June 1975 was my start, and this guitar is a revisitation of the first electric guitar I made, which was a quadraphonic guitar. John and Bob looked at me and said, you can't make that. I said, yeah, I can. So I did. I made a quadraphonic guitar, double neck. Well, what a quadraphonic does, I'll demonstrate with this instrument. So you may have heard me moving this dial around. If I play those instrument strings, you hear them coming out of here. I can move these around the room. So that goes to different places, or per string. So 4 speakers around the room, then I have the options of moving them to four different speakers. So which is kind of fun if you're the player. If you're in the middle of the room, you get the most effect for that. So anyway, that's what this contraption is. It has 7 hand-wound pickups. A feature of this instrument that's not been installed yet is synthesizer pickups that allow me to play sampled sounds and synthesizer sounds. So let's do a demo on this with Alan and I, because I think they're about ready there. Because we decided we're going to take up the whole second half just talking. And we're all having a good time, right? And all of you are saying under your breath, get them off the stage. How do we get them off the stage? Okay, we'll make this somewhat short.